started making videos when I was around 12 years old. And somehow, after all these years, I still feel like I'm just getting started. But there's a lot of stuff that I wish I could tell the version of me who was just starting. And honestly, the first thing I tell him is probably the simplest. Make what you would want to watch. I spent a lot of time thinking about what other people would want to watch, what I thought would perform, what I saw was trending, what I thought would get views. But eventually I realized the easiest person to make something for is myself. If I wouldn't click on it, then why would I expect other people to? And I think honestly that's something I've had to relearn over and over again as my content has shifted. Because it's really easy to start creating for an imaginary audience instead of creating because you actually have an idea that you're excited about. So make the thing that you'd want to watch, even if you're not sure somebody else will. The second thing I'd probably tell myself is don't wait until you're good enough. When I look back at some of the stuff I've made when I was younger, it's honestly kind of cringy and painful to watch. The camera quality wasn't great, the editing wasn't great, sometimes the idea itself wasn't even that great either. But I wouldn't be able to make the things I'm making now if I hadn't made all the terrible stuff first. You don't become good enough and then start creating, it's the other way around. You start creating and then eventually you become good enough. I think that part is very, very easy to forget. You can spend years and years watching tutorials, buying better equipment, planning the perfect project, waiting until you know exactly what you're doing, but eventually you just have to get up and make something. You're probably gonna cringe at it later, and that's okay. That's how you know you're getting better. And that leads into something else I've also had to learn. You have to really fall in love with the process, because most of creating isn't the finished product. It's sitting at your desk at midnight wondering why your edit still doesn't feel right. It's shooting something and realizing half the footage sucks. It's recording the same voiceover 5 times because you didn't like how you said one sentence. It's spending hours on something that 10 people might watch. And somehow you do it again and again and again. You have to learn to love that part too. Because if you only love the finished product, you're gonna spend most of your time frustrated. But if you can learn to enjoy the process itself, the experimenting, the mistakes, the little moments where finally something clicks, then creating becomes something you actually want to keep doing. And I think that's more important than being good. Something else I wish I'd learned earlier is that watching things can actually be part of creating as well. But you have to learn to watch things a little bit differently. Don't just watch a movie and think, that looked cool. You kind of have to ask yourself, why did it look cool? Why did that shot make you feel something? Why did they cut it there? Why does this scene feel expensive? Why did this song make the moment hit harder? Why did that particular camera movement work? Don't just consume things. Study why you like them. Because the more you pay attention to the things that inspire you, the more you start to develop your own taste. And eventually that taste starts to show up in your own work. But probably the easiest way to kill creativity is to constantly compare it to somebody else's. Because you're looking at someone else's finished product while you're experiencing every messy part of your own process. You see the beautiful final video, but you don't see the bad takes. You don't see the hours of footage that they deleted. You don't see the projects that didn't work. You don't see all the years that they spent becoming the person capable of making that thing. You're comparing their chapter 20 to your chapter 5. And that's not fair to yourself. You don't need to be better than them. You just need to keep becoming better than you were. And finally, I think the most important thing is create because you have something to say. That doesn't mean you have to have some profound message every time that you pick up the camera. Sometimes you just want to remember what your life looked like. Sometimes you just want to make something you'd want to watch. Sometimes you have an idea that you can't stop thinking about until you make it. Sometimes you just want to document something before it disappears. And I think that's enough of a reason. Because at the end of the day, I don't think you need permission to create. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need the best camera. You don't need a huge audience. And you definitely don't need to wait until you're good enough. You just have to make something. Make something you would want to watch. Make something you're curious about. Make something that means something to you. And then make another one, and another one, and another one. Because you don't become a creator when you finally feel ready. You become one by creating.